annual meeting will come to order.
Chris, are you ready? Thank you.
Okay, away we go. Okay, apparently Director Abb is absent and Director Hagan is absent. J.B. Portillo has his proxy. The Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first order of business is to approve the minutes from last year's meeting. Jackie?
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from last year's annual meeting.
Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Director Jason.
Whoever you are.
Jason Lloyd, whoever you are. Is there any questions or anything on the agenda, on the minutes? Okay, all those in favor? The minutes are approved, 8-0. Next up, the results of the election. I'd like to introduce Bob Rischel, and I'll let him introduce the rest of his committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, to that point, with me this evening are Paul Bickford, Margaret Colleen, and Mary Simkus. Kelly Austin is traveling and is unable to be with us this evening. I do appreciate their assistance as we worked as a committee through this process, and certainly for Jessica helping us figure out what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, we are ready, I believe, to show the results of this election, and the slide will be coming up, and I will read them off in case anybody is having trouble reading it. We had about 24.4% participation. Sandy Foskett was elected at 5,097 votes. Brad Parker had 44,523. David Brandenburg was also elected at 4,579. Parker Schulten had 4,222. And Jeff Hendren also was elected at 5,278. Congratulations to these people who were elected, and thanks for all of the candidates who went through this entire process. That concludes my report.
Okay, go for it.
Well, first of all, I would like to once again voice what Bob said. We are a volunteer-based governance, and we very much appreciate those that are willing to serve. And so congratulations to those who were elected, and thank you for those who attempted to be elected. We really appreciate your willingness to do that. Thank you so much. Next up, we have the audited financial reports. These are preliminary reports. They'll be voted upon by the board at next week's regular meeting. So next Thursday's meeting at 6 p.m. We had another clean audit, which is outstanding. You always want a clean audit. You don't want any corrections or adjustments. So congratulations to Beth, our CFO, and our entire accounting team for an outstanding job in having another clean audit. Once the vote has taken place by the board of directors at the May meeting, the audit will be posted to our website in the financial section. So we encourage everybody to read through that. All right, here's the balance sheet. The current assets went up by $1.1 million, and cash and investments was $668,000 of that. Inventories went up by $285,000, and prepaid expenses went up. Inventories went up. Now that supply chains are starting to loosen up, we're starting to get product in and so forth. So that's part of the reason why the inventories went up by quite a bit. Property and equipment increased by $373,000. Operating leases decreased by $489,000. The decrease is timing from multi-year leases and some leases ending. So total assets increased by a little over $1 million. Our balance sheet increased, the current liabilities increased by $959,000. The vast majority of it, the lion's share of that, is $1 million that was set aside for the Trafalgar settlement. Now that has since been paid, but remember this is year-end last year, so it was to be paid. Long-term debt decreased by $55,000. We paid off the water bond, but then we took on debt for Reardon Hall. So those kind of contradicted each other or balanced each other out. So the net decrease was $56,000. Operating leases decreased by $268,000. Once again, timing and leases coming to an end. And then members' equity increased by $401,000. We just had an outstanding year last year, so the P&L was strong, so that drove that number. All right, income statement. Revenue, water went up by $1.3 million. F&B had a great year. They were up $526,000. Property income was up $136,000. You had a little bit of movement in that the lot resales were positive by $287,000, but the auction was down by $151,000. So they kind of balanced each other out, but ended up with a net improvement of $136,000. Other income was down by $905,000. In 21, we had the $2 million Trafalgar settlement, which is a non-reoccurring. And then in 22, we had the $874,000 cell tower lease sale, which was a one-time extraordinary income. So those kind of balanced each other, or netted out a little bit, but still had the other income going down by $905,000. Expenses are up, payroll up by $109,000. A lot of that is as we're trying to stay competitive, we're increasing wages on our valuable staff, and so that drove up. We did have some increase in operations, but majority of it is just keeping competitive with the market. Environmental expenses, otherwise known as Trafalgar, was $1.1 million. Cost of sales were up by $639,000. As you sell more in the restaurants, you have more cost of sales because you have to, when you sell a hamburger, you have to purchase the meat for the hamburger and the bun and everything else. So your cost of sales goes up when your revenue goes up. And the supplies and fuels also was up by $500,000. So 21 had an outstanding results with pre-inflation expenses and large unusual revenue. 22 had solid results despite inflation and supply chain pressures. All right, cash, that's always an important thing. You'll see that we've steadily grown in cash from 20 all the way to 22. It's steadily gone up. We're at this point, our cash and investments are over $10 million. Always keep in mind our audited financials and our financial results are a combination of the POA as a whole and water, so it's both combined. If you want to get more detail on it, you can always go to our monthly financial reports that are available, and you can see that it's evenly balanced between the two of those. Our cash, the vast majority of it is in treasury bills. Those are very conservative, so we're not getting into any weird exotic investments or something like that. We try and be very conservative, and we stick with treasury bills and CDs, but right now we just have T-bills. All right, intercompany loan. This is between the water department and the rest of the POA. And you'll see that we've been slowly paying that off as we go along. And we continue to meet our obligations to pay that off on a consistent basis. So that's steadily going down. A couple key projects in 2022. This is definitely not all of them. I eliminated all the boring stuff like repairs to water towers and those kind of things when we purchase vehicles. Not very interesting, but you can definitely get that information on our website. But we completed the tiny cabin project in 22. It had started in 21. The red tea boxes, that project was completed. It was a 21 carryover. The pizza kitchen opened up at Highlands in 21. We got a new range ball dispenser at Highlands, and we got a new pontoon rental boat. We've been doing very well with renting those boats out at the marina at Loch Lomond. Renovated some pickleball courts, and we now have 10 courts, which is really outstanding, but it seems like every time we build pickleball courts, then they fill up and we need more all the time. Upgrades to the gear garden. I threw this in for the first 4 months of this year. Our revenue is up in the gear garden by 107% over prior year. And part of that is because of the improvements that we made last year. Lake Point, we had to do some painting, railings, door frames, deck, and then the lake fisheries. It's not completed. It'll be completed this year, but we have multiple lake fishery aquaculture ponds that are going in. We'll grow our own fish. We used to use the ponds, the irrigation ponds on Birksdale, but every time it would flood, it would take all those fish away and we'd have to start all over. The ones at Loch Lomond, the fish won't go away. So that's a nice thing that we're working on. All right, so someone came to me the other day and said, how has the 2020 plan worked? Are people embracing it? Are they using our amenities more? And you recall that really the benchmark for the 2020 plan is 2019 because the 2020 plan kicked in early 2020. So you see golf rounds have gone from 137,000 rounds in 2019, and this last year we did 170, and we are starting this year very, very strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have exceed the 2021 numbers with 174,000 rounds. Range buckets, holy cow. Just under 10,000 buckets of balls that we sold in 2019, and this last year we did just under 65,000 buckets of balls, so a whole bunch. So that's really impressive. Activity cards. So activity cards are really a good gauge because if you have an activity card, you're going to use it in multiple locations. You're going to be active by the very nature of the name. So way back in 2019, it was called the photo ID card, but basically it was the same thing. We've gone from 9,400 all the way up to just shy of 17,000. So huge, huge increase. Gun range. This is up too, from 7,600 up to 9,100. Boat registrations, 5,300 up to 7,700. The majority of the increase in boat registrations are kayaks. We are seeing a small increase in motorized vessels, but the majority of it is kayaks. It's non-motorized. And then RVs and camping usage has gone up quite a bit, so pretty impressive there. 21 was a big spike, and that was really a lot of COVID that was helping us on that one. So all those numbers are going up. So the simple question of, is the 2020 plan a successful plan? Is the usage going up? Absolutely, absolutely. A lot more than I had ever anticipated. Non-performing lots. So non-performing lots are lots that are not paying their assessments. Okay, they're not performing. So we have just over 39,000 lots in the POA, and on 12/31 of 15, 20.6% of those lots were not performing. They were not paying their assessments. Unfortunately, that is by and large an industry standard. It's not unheard of to see 15 to 20% in some communities. Between the work of our legal department, our collections, and our accounting team, as of 3/31 of this year, we're down to 4.5%. So we've steadily improved that. So we have a net gain of 6,300 additional lots are now paying their assessments, where previously those lots were not paying. That's an improvement of $1.2 million. Also, within that same time frame, since 2015, we've gone from 13,449 improved lots. That has increased to 15,535. So that has resulted in an increase of $600,000. So because those people, instead of paying $16, they're now paying $40. So between those two, between the $1.2 million and the $600,000, that's $1.8 million. So to put that in perspective, recently the community approved a $3 increase in assessments. If we hadn't had those two increases, we would have had to ask for a $15 increase just to get the same amount of funds. So this work by the team has been really helpful and allowed us to ask for less from the membership. So we still have work to go, but it's almost like playing golf. You can only go and get so low. You can try and try and try, but you can only get so low. So outstanding job. Here's some preliminary numbers. Very, very preliminary, and it's only 4 months into the year, but it kind of gives you an idea of how things are going so far. So total revenue, now this is, remember, this is the POA and water combined. So we are 430,000 over budget, but we're under prior year. Don't forget, prior year had the sale of the cell tower lease, and that was just over $1 million. So if you take out that $930 some odd thousand, so we're actually better than prior year also. Couple interesting points. Food and beverage is up 32% in the first 4 months this year compared to last year. And this is a mature operation. We're going from year to 5 to year 6. This is not a young operation. We're going from year 1 to year 2. So a 32% increase is outstanding. Golf, the weather has just been really great for us in the first 4 months, so we're up by 15% on that. Operating expenses are better than budget by $166,000. Some of that is timing, so it's not true savings. You expect to purchase something and have it arrive in April, and maybe it doesn't arrive until May or June or something like that. And so the EBITDA were to the better of budget by $600,000, but we're under prior year. Don't forget that sale of the cell tower lease. Here's the notice for next year's 58th annual meeting. So mark your calendar for May 21st of 24. We always want to acknowledge the board of directors for their volunteer work, and also the committee members. We have several members of the elections committee here, but also the Lakes Committee, the Golf Committee, the Rec Committee. They're all very important, and we really appreciate the work that they do. Especially, we don't have any. We put that in case Jan. Thank you so much. Jan Sims has served with distinction for 3 years, and she's going to be coming off the board, so we thank you. Open forum. So if you would like to make any comments please come up to the green microphone. You have 3 minutes. Our corporate secretary will mark it because we want to make sure that people don't exceed the 3 minutes. If you make statements, we respond at the very end. It's not a debate, it's a statement, and then the board responds. Would anybody like to speak? Sure. We have the annual reports going back 15 years. So you're welcome to dive right in. For those at home, the question was, do we have the previous year's annual reports on our website? We have 15 years worth. Take it over to you. You're the one that closes the meeting. I don't do that.